Good morning, everybody. Keith Engle here for TGI Sports Talks. Are you serious? I will hope to be joined by the Mad New Yorker here in a few minutes. He didn't make it in last week, but I have not heard anything. He will not be here this morning. A couple odds and ends to open it up. Welcome, everybody who's watching TGI Sports Talk on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, any place you're catching us this morning. Also on Northeast Streaming Sports. We're live on their Roku app on Friday mornings. Make sure you get out there and download that if you haven't. You can't comment from there, but you can certainly do that and comment on Facebook or YouTube. Also, anybody on Let's Talk Sports, we're on their YouTube feed this morning. Great content on both of those channels, by the way, as well. Shout out to Ralph Williams at RW Media, as we do every week. Specifically the sports corner that he does with Smoking Jim Frazier, 2 to 6 p.m. Eastern, WBVP, 12:30 a.m., 99.3 FM. I'll be on with them on the 26th. I don't know what time frame, but I'll be on with them. I'll let you know about that as well. And thumbs up DDH, and quick shout out to the Bottom Line Sports. I've promised them to do, and I mentioned on the College Sports Huddle, we'll give shout outs to any of the groups that support us, and they are certainly one. I've joined them recently, and they've been very, very receptive to the shows. So Bottom Line Sports, you get our call out here all this week, and I'll certainly do it for any of you guys. You guys that pop into the show certainly see that I will promote your shows, and if you put something in the comments, I'll certainly share it. Today, we want to get into a couple of things. I haven't heard anything that the Mad New Yorker is not showing up. But anyway, what I want to get into today, a little bit of NIL at NCAA talk. If you remember a long ways back, hang on, I got something from Carlos. I sent the link. Oh, Carlos, it's in Messenger. Anyway, years back, when NIL first started, Carlos and I were on really opposite sides of this whole thing. We're going to get into it today. He thought it was just a marketing tool, couldn't be bastardized. Well, it was bastardizing from the beginning, as I said it would be. Used as a recruiting tool. We'll get into that, and because now it is pay for play. There is no more illusion of amateurism and these guys taking advantage of marketing opportunities. Not going to happen. We'll get into that. We'll get into a high school. The Florida, I guess it's the Florida Sports Association. I'll come up with the, let me see if I can find it real quick. Anyway, it's an association that governs high school football in Florida. They're this close now to approving NIL for high school players. What could go wrong, right? We have seen nothing go wrong in the NCAA. What could go wrong there? We might talk a little bit this morning about LeBron James and Bronny, and how LeBron got mad at a reporter who said Bronny was a second rounder at best. Bronny's not even a second rounder right now. And also him fighting some of his battles for some of the people that have been critical of his college career up to date. Man, he's a freshman. How about everybody, including his father, back off this kid and let him be a kid for a while? We'll get into a little bit about Russell Wilson as well. Is there a place for Russell Wilson in the NFL going forward? So we'll get into some of those topics and see where we go from there. Who we got here with us this morning while we wait for the Mad New Yorker with us? Good morning, Dave Guyette, up there in Amsterdam, New York. Big Syracuse and Yankee fan. Good morning, Robert. Robert Butler from Sports Scope. As I said, Robert is on, I believe, from 8 to 9 o'clock, pretty much Monday through Friday, if I'm not wrong, on Northeast Streaming Sports and his own page as well. So check that out. Robert does some great stuff, and love coming on with Robert. Chris Fgrave up there in Canada, our number one Canada follower. Morning. He's recruiting a new sports fan to join and enjoy the show. Excellent. Fans, plural. Everybody. And I'll mention this again to Chris. One thing that's easy to do if you have sports fans in your friends list, go to TGI Sports Talk, like and follow the show. You'll see it near the top. There's these 3 dots. If I look at the page, hang on, let me look at the page here real quick. If I look at the page near the, some of the banners at the top, there's 3 buttons. If you click that 3 buttons, it will say invite friends, and your entire friend list will come up. You can invite them all. You can invite just the ones you want to pick out, but invite your people to the show. Share the show to your page. I appreciate any of that help. It's always helpful. And Chris, thank you for that. And Chris has got me, I haven't done a lot of interviews recently, and I do plan as we get into the springtime to try to do some more. He's hooked me up with, right now, Marty Cardova, a former really good player with the Twins, mostly. I think he, and some others. I know he played with the Blue Jays for a year, but very, very productive Major League Baseball player. The kind of guys I like to talk to. But I like to do it in a longer format, so I don't necessarily do it on these shows. I try to do a standalone interview with these guys, and we'll try to work that out with Marty here in the coming weeks. Dave Guyette says the Bills cleaned house yesterday, including the head coach. The head coach didn't get fired yesterday. Dave, what are you talking about? Did I miss some news? Because that would be something we would have talked about today. I don't think that happened. They cleaned out a bunch of their players, but Sean McDermott was not one of them. They brought back Mitch Trubisky, by the way. They didn't. Sean McDermott didn't get fired. So if you were rooting for that, you're disappointed. If you're upset about it, whatever. I don't know where the Mad New Yorker is. I have no idea. It didn't come. I can see it in this. Anyway, this is not how we should be doing this. It's sitting right there. I'm looking at it. Sent it an hour ago. Anyway, whatever. Send again. We'll have Carlos in as soon as we can. We'll take some of your comments until then. Jim Beringer, how are you, baby? Baby, where the hell did I come from? Don't read anything into that. You perverts. Jim Beringer filled in a little bit last week for and did it very well, as Jim is wont to do. We'll have him on Sunday morning if Jim is available to kind of review the trade deadline day. Today is the trade deadline for the NHL, as those of you who followed do know. I don't think George McPhee is done yet. Facebook hack issues. So, well, I don't have any other way to send it to you right now. I can try your email, I suppose, Carlos. Hold on. Got to test these things before the show starts, Carlos. That's the only way to make sure we don't have these glitches. And I may just move on because this is whatever. I don't know whether this is going to get to him or not. I hate this. No, this is not what I want to be doing right now. I want to be talking to you guys. So bear with me 1 second, guys. While I'm doing this, he's probably popped in the room, right? So whatever. All right, Carlos, you got it also in your email now as well. Best I can do, buddy. If he shows up, he shows up. Bills did sign a few players, including Mitch Trubisky yesterday. And good morning to Linda McGrath, watching live on Roku channel. Didn't mean to put you on. Roku channel. Didn't mean to put you on. What? Oh, the spot. That was no period there. On the spot. What'd you put me on the spot for? This must be Mac. If you're talking about what we talked about on your show, Mac, don't worry about that. I put myself on the spot pretty much every Sunday on the stream of consciousness when it comes to these topics. So, Danny Fuller, good morning. Good to have you with us this morning, Danny. And if we have the Mad New Yorker in here, we'll talk about a lot of stuff pretty soon. What? What's that one? I don't know what that one's for. Let me know what that watt's for there, Danny. So anyway, we're going to talk about NIL again. Dartmouth. The latest news is Dartmouth's basketball team voted 13-2 to join a local union so they can collective bargain with the university. Talked a little bit with Mac McGrath on the Mac and Jack show. Is this a trial balloon to see if it will fly? Professional sports are here in college, guys. There is no illusion anymore. I hope Carlos makes it in, because when we first started talking about NIL 3 years ago, whatever it was, he insisted to me this was a marketing tool, and I didn't understand that it wouldn't be used the way I said it would be used. I'm sure he's going to forget that. I hope he comes in to defend himself. But that's the way it's being used, guys. It's being used now, and with the court, and it was being used that way before. There was investigations which have been suspended by the NCAA now. Because schools were using it as a recruiting inducement, which it was not meant to be. It was not meant to be, come to our school, we'll get you $1 million in endorsements, or just give you $1 million. That's not what it was meant for. It was meant for once you got to school, you could be paid by EA Sports if you were going to be in a video game, which is how it all originated with Ed O'Banion. It was going to be used so that, a local car dealer or restaurant could put your face on a billboard or outside their restaurant or on their menus, or maybe do a commercial with you. Not as a pay for play deal. Now the courts have shot that out. It's open game for everything. And when you tie it to their transfer portal, these guys are no longer players. They're going to be employees. Got to unionize to protect yourselves, because guess what? When you're an employee, it's going to be a lot easier to get rid of you than when you were a player on a 4-year scholarship. 4-year scholarships. Mac had a great point on the Mac and Jack show this morning that I had made a note of on my notes to talk about this topic. If I'm athletic directors, I'm having these kids sign contracts that you're going to stay because I'm paying you to come here. It's going to be X amount over 4 years, but I can also get rid of you. And you can't leave through the transfer portal. I don't care if you're playing, not playing. If I'm paying you to come here, let's lose the illusion of amateurism. If that's what you want, and by the way, you're going to lose me. I talked about it in the college football huddle the other night. I'm not interested in another professional league on Saturdays. I have the NFL. Saturdays were better to me and more exciting because of the dynamics involved. They weren't professional athletes, at least above the table. Sucks. If you keep the train rolling here, and I say this with no bias, I'd love to see Russell Wilson in the CFL. I did bring up Russell Wilson, and we're going to talk more about Russell Wilson if the Mad New Yorker makes it. Russell Wilson would probably fit in the CFL because of the more wide open play. The problem with Russell Wilson is he cannot play, and you saw it in Denver. His numbers weren't terrible last year, but that's one reason you can't look just at numbers. You got to watch the games. He needs to play in more of a wide open improvisational offense. Keep plays alive. He's not going to be able to sit here and hit quick timing patterns over the middle. That's not his game. Now he's going to get paid his money from Denver once he gets released. So the CFL could sign him, and maybe he'd go up there for a little bit of money. I think Russell Wilson wants to play in the NFL, though. I'm just not sure how many suitors he's going to have. I know the Steelers have engaged him, and the Steelers would seem to be a good fit based on the type of offense that they run. I've heard him mentioned with the Falcons, but knowing about the Falcons and the offense that they intend to run, which is going to be a lot of play action, a lot of passes over the middle, which Russell Wilson doesn't like to throw, not going to be a good fit. College gone pro. Yeah, Robert, it is so sad to watch what's happened here. A great sport. And again, will there be great football played in the SEC and the Big Ten? And whenever they pull off to be their own conference league, it's going to be a minor league to the NFL or a competitor. I won't have the same interest. I just won't. And again, there were certainly schools that were taking advantage of these things. Danny Fuller is Chris F. Graves' invite. Awesome. Great to have you with us, Danny. Are you, Danny? A little bit of information I like to get from new, and you're invited to participate in any way you want. This show, we will try to structure into a debate show, and there's two of us here. Sundays is certainly wide open. The Sunday Stream of Consciousness, which is still my favorite show because you guys run it. Danny, you come in, you bring up any topic you want. We're all over the board. I'd like to find out, Danny, when new guys come in and start to participate, where you're from and who your teams are. So thank you, Chris. Chris did get Danny in here. That's awesome. We're getting to be 2,000 followers, and guys, I'm loving every minute of it. Carlos, I guess, is going to debate me through the comments today. It's an issue for universities to pay out players and pay takes for athletes as employees. I don't know if I'm understanding this. It's an issue for universities to pay out players, which they are going to do. It's pay for play now. This is what's been taken. The transparency now is clear. It was happening anyway, and the NCAA was investigating universities that were doing that. And now they've dropped all those investigations because the courts have said you can do this. You can just walk in, a coach, the AD can just walk into a prospect's living room and say, here's $2 million, come and play for Texas A&M. The other part of this, and pay takes for athletes as employees. I'm not sure exactly what that means. It's an issue. And again, Carlos, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do not believe I am. Because again, I always will admit when I've made a mistake. I said in the very beginning, you told me I didn't understand what NIL was. I told you I did understand, and that it would be bastardized into exactly what it's become. You remember that conversation, Carlos? I do. I'll find a tape. Oh, Danny, so if you can get rid of me, I can leave you for another gig. You? Danny, you're here one show. I'm not getting rid of you. You can. If we're talking about college or I don't know, I'm not sure if that's just some levity on your part, which is fine. We love levity on this show. Or it's a comment on the player situation in college. You know what? If you're an employee, man, I can let you go. I talked about this the other night on the college football huddle. New York State, for instance, is a right-to-work state. Anybody who works for me, I can get rid of for any reason other than race, religion, or gender. Even gender might come into questions. That's a different topic. So to me, it might be easier to get rid of you. Now, of course, they're going to unionize to protect those players and protect them from being able to just be let go of their jobs. But again, if I'm going to be paying kids, if this is the way we're going, and believe me, I am not endorsing where college football is going. I can't stop it, though. I want to turn the clock back 20 years. I can't do that. But if I'm a coach now or AD, you're signing a contract, man. You're staying here. You're not taking my $1 million, $2 million, $500,000, whatever the heck it is, and then hitting the transfer portal next year because somebody offered you more or a starting position and I haven't given you one yet. Professional all the way. There's a lot of red tape, which is why universities use third-party players. They're not going to use third-party players. They won't even need to. They can go offer the money, Carlos. If I'm Kirby Smart, let's look at some music playing in my ear. Sorry if you guys hear that. If I'm Kirby Smart, I can just walk into a player's living room tomorrow and say, what did Alabama offer you? I'll match it and add $500,000. There's no illusion anymore. If you think there is, you're really off your rocker. And if you think something's going to happen to overturn this ruling, it's not. The genie's out of the bottle. And that's kind of sad. Rick Sherlock, good morning. And what about high schools? I talked about this. Let me find this. I want to use the right. Where am I here? So the Florida High School Athletic Association is on the verge of approving NIL payments to high school athletes, which would now make them the targets of bidding wars, transfer inducements, and other enticements that don't include the ability to read. This is from Bill Mushnick, by the way, what I'm reading here. So, but I agree with him 100%. This would include, this would now allow kids to become targets of bidding wars, transfer inducements, and other enticements, just like college, that don't include the ability to read, write, add, subtract. Parents, if available, the council will be able to place the kids up for auction. Have we gone totally nuts? What are we thinking about? Why does everything have to be monetized the way it is? And I understand that's a bit of a Pollyanna-ish attitude. I get it. I'm 64 years old soon, man. I remember a time when guys played for passion and just for the game. Can't I get back there? Now I live in a world where guys quit on teams because they don't play them enough or pay them enough. I live in a world where guys like Carlos Rondon don't even like the game they're playing. It's a job. I just show up. They aren't using Carlos, you've totally missed the boat. You're giving me the same arguments that you gave me 3 years ago, and they were wrong then. Well, actually, no, they would use a third party, so you were right. But they were not used the way you said they would be used. And I didn't understand how these monies would be used. They would be used to give the kids endorsements once they were at the school, not as a recruiting inducement. And now I don't need a third party. I can go directly to the kid and offer him monies that are either the university's got or the collectives have. You still don't understand what's happening. All they did was legalize what was already happening below the table already. Is this Carlos or the guy who hacked your account? No, this sounds exactly like Carlos. This snowballed when Boris entered into the agent rep game. Well, first of all, he didn't enter into it. He's been into it for decades. And by the way, college student athletes are not allowed to have agents in any way, shape, or form. And I don't know that this ruling allows for that. I'll look into that. But I haven't heard Scott Boras and college sports. Let me just take a quick look here at something. I mean, Scott Boras affected the professional rank and the way negotiation was done a long time ago. But I don't think he's got any influence. Let me just look. I'm just going to look college football. Yeah, I don't see any reference to Scott Boras in college athletics. So again, I'm not sure how that can possibly even be relative to this argument, Carlos. Every state has rules on employments, and that's the real issue, which is why unionizing is being brought up. Again, the unionization, yeah, because they want to protect the players who have all the power today and can not only take my money today, they can leave next year and go somewhere else and get more money, more playing time, more pizza, more women, whatever. And In the schools now, here's because this is the flip side. You want to be an employee. Now the schools and the programs have some power again. In a way, it's a good thing. It's going to be easier to get rid of a kid if you're an employee and you're not on a 4-year scholarship. If you're, unless I've signed you to a 4-year contract that's guaranteed. Because I'll just fire your ass. Goodbye. I don't need a reason. I don't like you. I don't like the way you part your hair. Ay, ay, ay. Anthony Price, good morning. Good to have you with us. Wilson Smart just signed a 1-year, $5 million deal. Well, he's going to get, right. This is why nobody's going to trade for Russell Wilson. Somebody brought up the other day that, he's going to be very expensive. Not for the team that gets him. All they got to do is pay him the minimum, not even $5 million. But he's going to want to play, Anthony. Where does he fit? Where does Anthony Price really fit? Anthony Price. You signed him for $1 million for 1 year for $5 million, Anthony. Where's Anthony Price really fit? Where does Russell Wilson really fit? There's a lot of offenses that are very structured today, and they're not going to let you just run that improvisation that Russell Wilson was so good at. And by the way, he's lost a lot of those skills because he's not as quick. He takes some really bad sacks. This is why Sean Payton wanted to get rid of him so badly. Sorry, guys, I'm not there, but I'm on here. You're even harder to understand here, Carlos, because you don't understand this topic at all. Danny Fuller's in Southern Cal. UCLA grad. I'm a Redskins. Thank you for using the Redskins term, Danny. You're ingratiating yourself to me already. Dodgers, Lakers, LA Kings. Danny, we have Jim Beringer on Sunday morning on the Stream of Consciousness to update us on the NHL trading deadline. If you're a big NHL fan. Lakers, I'm really sorry. Congratulations on that midseason trophy. And let me ask you this, and I'll broach another topic, and we're kind of mixing topics up today, and that's whatever. That's fine. It's almost like having a stream of consciousness on Friday as well. One of the topics I have talked about recently was LeBron, who plays for your Lakers, getting upset because some prognosticators had Bronny falling to late in the second round in the NBA draft this year. Bronny James isn't getting drafted this year unless it's some team that's desperate to bring LeBron in and sell tickets. So number one, and by the way, Bronny, I don't know, he's averaging like 5 points, 2 rebounds. And I'm sure you're not a USC fan graduating from UCLA. But he's only played half a season. He had a heart issue just a year ago. How about we let this kid progress? And again, his coach talked about the learning curve that Bronny has. We have no idea how good Bronny can be. He could be a bust. He could be a really good basketball player. We have no way to know yet. How about letting him just be a kid and play? Well, there's a stupid comment based on what I've already been talking about. Let's just let him be a kid and play college. And don't fight his fights for him, LeBron. You don't need to speak up to where his draft status is and say, Bronny, back in January, he says Bronny could play for us right now. Well, that's more of a comment on how bad the Lakers were, I guess, than Bronny. By the way, that was sarcasm when I said congratulations on that midseason tournament trophy, Danny. Sorry. And LeBron, don't fight his fights. When people are going to jeer players, I say all the time, you got every right to boo. Don't get players' faces. Don't throw things. Don't throw racial epithets. But you can boo. You can say overrated. But I'm not ready to say Bronny's overrated or underrated. I have no idea. He's played about 15 college games after having a serious heart issue and recovering from it. How about he needs to play another year of college, minimum. And again, if his father is going to counsel him to enter the NBA draft this year, then he's not doing his son any favors. Not ready for the NBA. First of all, he's not going to get drafted in my mind. Second of all, he's not ready for the NBA. Carlos, Austin P won a big game last night. As we start chasing down March Madness. What's my other topic today? Russell Wilson. Oh, we're covering pretty much everything at once here. Has nobody see a problem with and nobody's commented on the high schools approving NIL deals. Again, we've already shown it will not be used the way it's supposed to. Bobby Smith, the quarterback for Broward County Broward County High, whatever we want to call them, make it up a school, is not going to just stay there and get his name on a billboard for the local car dealer. He's going to be, his parents will be out shopping him around the entire state of Florida. We've seen this before. There are so many documentaries you can watch. I watched some about, I wish I could remember the name of this coach who's been all over the Southeast. They recruit kids from California to play in Alabama. Now you're going to throw NIL into this? Probably already there. Danny Fuller agrees. Agreed. And if you're an employee, you can leave for a better gig. Don't disagree, which is why. And by the way, you can do that as a player too, Danny. That's my point. They can already do that. I said when NIL came to the forefront and every state started making their own rules because the NCAA wouldn't take control. They kept waiting for Congress to do something, which they never did. Now the courts are involved. I said then NIL with the transfer portal, both things that when you take them, if they're used correctly, if NIL was used correctly and it puts some money in kids' pockets so they can fly home to grandparents' funerals or, have a pizza, whatever, then I'm okay. We're talking millions of dollars. I'm not okay. And then you tie it to the transfer portal, which I also think is okay, because if you get yourself into a bad situation, one time you can get out of there. Now you can do it every year. And a school can offer me more money than I'm getting here or give me whatever inducements they want for me to transfer. Which they can do now. Not when they're employee, yeah, sure, they could leave unless I sign them to a contract. This is what, to me, if I'm going to be running one of these college programs, I'm not paying a kid $1 million to come here and then be able to walk away after a year. This is why maybe it'll be better for the schools. Maybe it'll be better for the schools because of that. I mean, but you're not wrong. But I can do it as of right now. A kid can do that. And one of the things in the ruling was there's no limit to the amount of times you can transfer. Nick Saban basically said he left due to a new vibe from the NIL and portal threats. He said the system had really gotten out of control. And Robert Butler, you're absolutely right. Catch Robert's stuff on SportsScope, guys. Really good stuff. He left due to, he didn't like it. They were participating. Don't get me wrong. He wasn't above the fray. He didn't dive in like a lot of schools did, and he knew what was coming. I mean, this is just the beginning, by the way. We haven't even talked about the fact that the SEC and the Big Ten, are likely to break off and become their own entity before long, next 5 years. Was it, Carlos? Why was it inevitable? Why? The money was already getting made by the universities. If you had enacted an NIL and did it correctly with real rules and with real penalties with a pain point, you could have used it and enhanced the kids' college experience. Now we've done away with the whole illusion of amateurism and student athletes. Now it's just pay for play. Now they're professionals. So I'm competing with the NFL. Let's stop the illusion that this is college athletics. Somebody brought up on the show the other day, might have been John DeLon, that there's talk about being able to sell ownership of these programs to likely sponsorships, right? But in theory, in reality, you'd be selling the rights to those organizations to the highest bidder. Now you're a professional franchise. Stop pretending you're a college sport. I have preached here since I started doing this, and even before. Saturdays were more exciting than Sundays, and that's about to change soon. Maybe this year I'll be okay. But the more you move this sport towards professionalism and you're basically competing with the NFL, I don't watch competition in the NFL. You know why? Number one, it's inferior, which this product will become inferior. This product will be hurt by this whole thing. There are already fans of schools that have put their allegiances aside because they don't want to travel across the country to see their team from LA play in New Jersey. Good question for Danny Fuller. Tied to this topic. This all started because of realignment. Not all the NIL. It's all related when we talk to the lack or the disappearance of amateurism. Are you happy UCLA is now in the the Big 10, Big 18, Big 16, whatever the hell it is? They can't even count. I need them to, they're going to educate my kids. There are student athletes out there anymore, by the way, and they get a bad name in all of this too, because now they'll be lumped in with the same group of kids. If I'm a student athlete, I'm not going to one of these big schools anymore. So anyway, Danny Fuller, what do you think about UCLA going to the Big Ten? And I don't think it's good for your football team. I don't think it's good for your basketball team. Tough year for UCLA, by the way. But what about the women's field hockey team when they got to travel to go play Rutgers? Accident and injury. When they got to go play Rutgers on a Wednesday afternoon. Ridiculous. And where's Title IX in all of this, by the way? How far down are we going to go to pay players? And will Title IX even be relevant when conferences break away from the NCAA? Are they going to be still held to the letter of the law for Title IX? I'm not sure. Can't have your cake. You can't have your cake and eat it too. If an employee can be let go, the employees can leave as well. I don't disagree with that. Believe me, I'm not, Danny, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I am saying, and that's the way it is today, by the way. Again, the player can walk away today. And so like it's 4 times if you're JD Daniels. But if it's an employee-employee relationship, employer-employee relationship, I think the employers are going to have a little bit more power than they have today. I really do. And the players will be sorry that this is what they wished for. And yeah, but if you sign a contract, you can't leave. And depending on how the contract's written, I can still let you go. I might have to pay you, but I can let you go. And if there is no contracts, yes, just like I can leave my place of employment tomorrow. Well, I don't leave. I'm not leaving on a Saturday. I'll leave on a Monday. No, I'm not. Believe me, I'm not arguing that point. The employees will still have a lot of rights. But believe me, they're not going to look to unionize unless they feel they need protection. I talked about this a little bit the other day, and I'm straying off the into dangerous territory, most likely. Unions help today. When I watch, people who are part of unions who do their job don't need the union. I've worked in the private sector for 40 years and been happy to do so, knowing I could get let go tomorrow. But if I do my job and I do it well, I won't get let go tomorrow. I will move up naturally. I will make more money naturally. Now, I know there was a time that unions were needed. Are they needed to protect kids who are going to become multimillionaires? No, but to protect the lesser guys on those rosters? Okay. Maybe they shouldn't be getting paid. Maybe you should be going to school and getting an education and play football at the same time, like we've done for, well, I don't know, 100 years. I don't know. I could be wrong. Again, and Danny, you're new to the show, so I want to make sure. I get excited sometimes, and I'm very passionate about the things that I believe. In no way do I think I'm always right. But I'm rarely in doubt. I use Billy Packer's line all the time. I'm sometimes wrong, but never in doubt. But I do know if you're looking at this the way Carlos has in the past and argued to me that I didn't understand what NIL was, it was third parties and a marketing tool. It was BS then. And it's clear. You didn't say pay for play was inevitable then. Well, you might have talked about them being employees, but you defended NIL as being just a marketing tool, and I didn't understand what it was going to be used for. I said it would be bastardized. It was bastardized, and now, all the transparency is gone. And again, I'm not pretending that this was already happening. The NCAA was investigating schools and doing nothing about it for the most part because they don't have any teeth. If you look up how many cases are on trial, there are none, Carlos, because they've dropped every single investigation, including the one in Tennessee that initiated this whole court action 3 or 4 weeks ago. And they weren't even chasing the majority of them. You don't think this was going on? Come on. It's amazing to me. Whether it's this, whether it's sign stealing, whether it's whatever, everybody thinks that you think that's an isolated instance and other schools aren't doing the same stuff. If Tennessee and 10 other schools were being investigated right now, Carlos, there's another 100 that weren't being, 100, whatever. Make up whatever number you want. We're not being investigated just because of resources or we didn't care about getting them. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where the money's coming from. They're getting paid to play. They're not getting paid for endorsements. They're not getting paid for the use of their name, their image, or their likeness. NIL. It's right there in the name, Carlos. They're not getting paid for any of those things. They're getting paid for throwing the football, catching the football, rushing the football, tackling people. Get your head out of the sand, man. You're hung up on this third party thing, and to me, it doesn't matter. If the program is controlling the money and where it goes, it doesn't matter to me where it's coming from. That was illegal before this ruling. Schools would be investigated because they were determining where the money from these third parties. I'm not saying there weren't third party people and the money never came from the institution. It will be coming from the institution soon enough. We won't need these conglomerates, these collectives, excuse me. It'll be like the NFL. We'll just negotiate into the TV rights. You'll get paid out of the TV rights. You'll get paid out of the ticket sales. And by the way, it will cost you and everybody else who wants to watch college football more money. If you go to a game, it's going to be the price of tickets are already outrageous. Not NFL outrageous, but they're going to be. And it affects you in the parking. It affects you in concessions. It affects you when you watch TV. And don't tell me I don't pay for any of these games. I won't pay for any extra streaming. If you pay for a cable package, you're paying already. If you never watch a game, you're paying. And you're going to pay more. But let's do this in high school, too, because this is working so good. The fact that public schools and universities could actually charge these players for their name. In fact, could they? Huh. Oh, my God. Regardless, I don't know if that's actually even accurate, how that's a good thing. It's a huge mess, and money cannot be passed around without taxes being paid from any payment. We haven't even gone down that road yet. Wait till that hits the fan. Hey, Arch. Hey, I shouldn't throw in. I'll just use Arch. We won't use the last name. I'm just using an example. Did you claim everything that you got from the University of you know who on your income tax? Did you pay theoretically, now that it's pay for play, pretty much anything I get from the university should be included as income. My tuition, my food, that should all be part of my package. I've probably taken it too far there, so. You're right. No agents yet, Danny, but it will be coming. Absolutely. When the farce of this still being an amateur sport is totally exploded, which I'm sorry, it's already exploded. But when the mist is cleared and we're just operating as a professional entity, whether it's the entire NCAA or just a portion of it when the SEC and the Big Ten break off, yeah, agents will be involved. You know why? Because there's money to be made. Might be better for the players. I mean, probably their parents working as their agents is probably not the best way to go right now. Man, you're just so you're using the same arguments you used 3 years ago, Carlos. Yes, maybe those third parties are being used to assist some players on lower levels, especially to get themselves some NIL money. $30,000 for an offensive lineman to put his face on a billboard for some beef company. None of this stuff. You keep going these third parties. I don't know why. They're just a tool in the middle. It's the universities are controlling the money and where it goes. Yeah, will some players be able to? Well, and by the way, if you have a union and we're collective bargaining, this will all go out the window. Dave Guyette, I just seen on McDermott that Sean. You didn't finish your comment here. Sean McDermott didn't get fired. I'm not sure what ESPN you're watching there, Dave, but unless I've missed something here. Sean McDermott is still alive and well in Buffalo. So I'm not sure if that's what you're talking about here. I'm not sure. Well, we got 9:50. We got about 10 minutes left. If you notice, that's why gifts are so big with these boosters like cars and swag. It's cash. I mean, you're still making it sound like, they're gifts. They're not gifts. They're inducements. If I'm a kid, forget the car. Give me the cash. I don't need swag. Give me the cash. I'll buy my own swag. Right? Anthony, back on Russell Wilson. Yeah, Kevin McConnell. I'm not sure he fits that offense. I mean, think about the way Kirk plays and has that offense playing well. That's not Russell Wilson's game, man. They throw the ball over the middle. They have a very structured offense. Very rarely does it break down, and Kirk's got to improvise a lot. That's not his game. And I'm not sure that the Vikings want to do that. I'm not sure if there's a starting spot for Russell Wilson. Wilson will be in a better situation that's not run by Arthur Smith. No, but the way I understand it, their offensive philosophy is going to be to throw the ball to the receivers in the middle. They've got strong tight ends. They got strong wide receivers that can catch the ball over the middle. Russell Wilson, for whatever reason, has never been one to want to throw the ball over the middle. He's an outside the hash mark quarterback, and he's an improviser who can't improvise as well as he did 5 years ago. Takes a lot of big sacks. Stops drives. He's not an improvement on a lot of situations in the NFL, I don't think. Not at his age. Broncos do have to pick up the tab, yes. And I hope Wilson goes somewhere where he can beat the crap out of overrated Peyton and a cheater. Who's a cheater? Peyton? Confused. I mean, he's saying overrated Peyton and a cheater. He's overrated and a cheater. When did he cheat? With the bounty scandal? Is that what we're talking about? I'm not sure what we're talking about. By the way, something else that goes on in the NFL all the time. Peyton was suspended for a year. As a Patriot fan, I know I end up defending guys who have done wrong in a lot of people's eyes. But again, most of the things that teams get caught for in sports, everybody's doing. The Astros, everybody's stealing signs, and they have been for decades. Putting out bounties on players, that's been happening for decades. Buddy Ryan was famous for doing it. What do you got here, Danny? LOL, if midseason banner. The midseason. They played well, though, out of the gate, once they got it, he said with a smirk. Danny's watched, now we're just getting into this. Now maybe we'll go a little long. I don't know. We'll see. I've watched Bronny Jr. He's not good. Let the kid be a kid. Again, he's not good. He's good. I mean, you look at I doubt he got into USC just because of his name. I'm sure he can play a little bit. We don't have any idea how good or bad he is. He didn't play basketball for over a year because of the heart issue. He didn't play till halfway through the season this year. I just think it's way too soon to be talking about Bronny in the NBA. Bronny not in the NBA. And that includes LeBron. LeBron needs to shut up. Bronny will probably be a good player. Probably. I don't know. And just because you're a good player doesn't mean you're ever going to get drafted. Keep in mind, there's only 2 rounds in the draft. To follow up a great player is terrible. However, this will be up to Bronny and also up to the teams he plays on. Well, part of it. I mean, it's my part of my point is his father's getting in the way of his growth in my mind. Let the kid be a kid, enjoy the college experience. Again, I can't even believe I'm saying that after we just talked about. I think Magic Johnson would play in the Lakers before Bronny James does. I don't even know if Magic's got a son that plays. Good, and welcome to John Gonzalez, and check out John's stuff. Join the Sports Authorities group, guys. Great stuff from there. I talked about Bottom Line Sports earlier. John Gonzalez, I always like to give a shout out to, especially when I'm prompted to when I see him. Great stuff and great supporter of my stuff. So thank you very much. Daniel takes some bad seasons as a Laker fan, rather being a Clipper fan and not one banner. I hope the Clippers never hang a banner. I would root for that. Whoa, that is pretty strong there, Danny. As a Laker fan, you'd root for the Celtics over the Clippers? Yikes. That's some pretty strong hatred there. Yes, but you're saying sign these men to contracts and they can't leave, but then you send packing. Personally, I dislike the college situation. That sucks. And again, I know, and sometimes I'm talking in extremes, Danny, and I know that, but again, all I want to do, because I'm 64 years old soon, and I'm get off my lawn, give me back the game I loved. I'm never getting it back. It's dead forever. The college game was still a great game. Maybe still will be a great game this year, but it's going to come to an end pretty soon. And we're never going to have what I had when I was growing up 40 years ago, 50 years ago. 30, 20, even 10 years ago. And realignment is what started all that. We won't go down that road just yet. Nick was the one benefiting from under the table years ago. I won't argue that point. Again, Nick Saban really can't be the poster child for what's wrong with college football, probably. Now, never, again, part of my argument about teams who are doing things the wrong way is lost my train of thought. Oh, if you want to catch somebody, you will. If I wanted to go to Alabama and find recruiting violations, find this, find that, I could find it. I could probably find where they were looking for a leg up in competition, whether it was filming signals, stealing signals, whatever. My point is always, if you want to find something on somebody in any sport, you'll find it. And Nick Saban shouldn't be the poster child for this conversation. I don't disagree. He did. There's a story about them. I don't know. I don't remember what. I didn't read the whole story. I saw the headline this morning. Rick will probably dive into it Sunday. But part of the reason, it wasn't the entire reason. There's Bottom Line Sports. I'm glad you popped in today, and I do mean to give you guys a shout out, and I'm glad you prompted me to do so. And I'll do it through the shows this week for sure, and going forward, not every week probably, because I can't shout out all the groups every week. Guys who really support me, Bottom Line Sports has been one of that. John Gonzalez at the Sports Authorities has been another one. I'll be more than happy to give you that shout out. And thanks for popping in today. And guys, go check out Bottom Line Sports too. Great stuff there. Just got out of the Army PT workout, catching the show. Army PT. Are you in the Army, bud? If you are, thank you for your service. If I'm misunderstanding that, thank you for whatever it is you're doing there. Agreed. Saturday was always, it's just a harder playing Sunday. I agree. It'll probably still be better. And I'll tell you right now, and we're going over. I'll go over a few minutes. I can't go too long because I do have to get some work done. I said this on the college football show, College Sports Huddle, the other night. 3:30 window, the SEC, and I'm not a huge SEC fan, but that 3:30 football window is always my favorite. Turn on the SEC, CBS, and at whoever was doing the games at the time. Well, it'll be ESPN now. And that was my great moment. That 3 hours from 3:30 to 6:30 or 7 was awesome. I won't feel that way anymore. It was like a day at church. Thank you, Danny. It's a great analogy, although I'm not a big church guy. I hate the Big Ten lineup. Very disappointed. No Pac-12. Good. You should be. Over 100 years, and Danny, we'll talk about this more when we have time. 100 plus years of history gone because of greedy administrators. How do I get mad at kids? I've had to sometimes I've had to change my line on NIL a little bit in the transfer portal and everything else. Transfer portal mostly. We want kids to be loyal and stay. And Danny talked about, they can go and come, and maybe the team should be loyal to them as well. There's no loyalty. We expect players to be loyal, but coaches aren't loyal. Universities aren't loyal. They don't care about the fans. They don't care about the players. They don't care about anything except the almighty dollar. You won't be going to Rutgers. I don't blame you. I wouldn't go to Rutgers either. Geez, you blocked out my whole head. I don't know. A good example I know how it really works is Caleb Williams, who hasn't yet reported how much he really made in Oklahoma before transferring. However, it's been reported that at USC he had signed for about $10 million worth of contracts. Even at $10 million is not fully guaranteed due to the fact that he has contacts and he tied the NFL on the cards, blah, blah, blah. That's too much to get into right now. We're going to have to get off the air here in a second. But, Carlos, we'll continue this conversation. Michael Penix tweeted that he wants to play for the Saints. Anthony, Michael Penix may have helped himself in the combine. We'll talk more about the draft in coming weeks here and on the Sunday Stream of Consciousness and on the Sports Huddle. LOL at J.D. Daniels, right? 4 schools, 4 years. He stunk at all of them, too. Facts on unions. I always tread lightly there because there's union guys out there. And the union guys that really, I feel bad because usually when I get into a union discussion, it's somebody who didn't need a union. The guy did a great job. He would have done well without the union, but, and maybe when he started, he needed it. Maybe 50 years ago when he started his job, he needed it. Today, out of control. Title IX is not affected, but it can actually boost universities to give more scholarship and bigger scholarships to other sports, lacrosse. Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see, Carlos. Jeremy, haven't seen you a bit. Good to have you with us. Unfortunately, we got to be getting off the air here in a minute, but NIL was started because EA Sports couldn't have their college football game day. Actually, NIL was started, yes, due to EA Sports, but it was college basketball. Ed O'Banion from Danny Fuller's UCLA Bruins sued EA Sports and I think the NCAA for the use of his name, likeness, and image in the college basketball game. That is really the genesis of where it all started. Can teams in the NFL nowadays get away with a long ball? I think he means bomb. Special as a backup quarterback, talking Russell Wilson again. Long bong, maybe. Oh, God, I got to get off the air here. I don't want to. Can they? Back in the day, we did have a lot of the backup quarterbacks were mad bombers, if you will. Darryl LaMonica, Don Strock. Remember Clint Longley? He had one great game on Thanksgiving and turned into a prima donna. Paid for play has been talked about for 25 years and was a bad idea 25 years ago, and it's a bad idea now. You want to pay for play, then go to the NFL. Why strip down and ruin maybe the best sport in all sports, college football, which that will no longer be true for, not for me, maybe for you. I got to be kidding. I don't know what I'm kidding about. Think about this. How about an NFL team paying kids still in college? Listen, we might get there, Kenny. Maybe the NFL, maybe the NCAA in whatever form it takes will end up being a feeder league. Maybe they'll end up competing with the NFL. I don't know. It's just nonsense. You're not wrong. It's now an even playing field with the cheaters. Saban, now you don't have under the table payment. Heck, John Cheater Calipari put 2 schools on probation. Lands in Kentucky, and it's clean now. No, there's a lot of that, and you don't need to cheat now. Now there's no cheating to be done. You can't get labeled a cheater if you're just doing what the courts legalized. But I'm not giving back, Reggie Bush's Heisman. Why would I give back his Heisman? What he did was illegal when he did it. If I always say if I got a speeding ticket and a 30 for going 60 and a 30, and they raise the speed limit there to 60, 10 years later, I don't get my money back for my ticket. NCAA, what do you got here, Jeremy? Well, profited billions off EA Sports franchise with the image. I agree. And I know, I said, used in the right way, name, image, likeness. It's right there in the name, and you've used it several times, Jeremy. But that's not what we're doing anymore. Pay per play isn't about using your likeness. Pay for play is me paying you or your son or whoever to come and throw the ball, catch the ball, tackle people, run the ball, score touchdowns. Not in a game, not your face on a billboard, not a TV commercial. The actual effect you have on my football team. The actual investment, the return on my investment that you can bring to my football team as a player. That's not NIL. It's like going In-Out Burger, you'll pay more. You're going to pay more everywhere. You're going to pay more to sponsors. That's an excellent point. Anybody who sponsors college football, just like the NFL, when TV rates go up, who pays? You pay. I pay. One thing you don't think about, you pay through TV fees and cable fees and streaming service fees. You're also paid for sponsorships. Car prices go up. Potato chip prices go up because I'm paying more money in sponsorships to these TV networks and whatnot. What a great job. This is almost like the right on, Keith. I don't know what I said. Kenny's agreeing with me. It's got to be good. Good morning, Kenny, if I didn't say good morning to you earlier. This is like our Sunday Stream of Consciousness show. I love this back and forth. I don't claim everything I get in my IRS. Now, easy, Danny. We might have some IRS guys watching the show. I know some retired IRS guy watches the show. I know better than Donald Trump. He says he did it legally. I'll take him at his word. We got to wrap it up here soon. Agents already have their hands in the mix. They're the ones setting up these third parties. Are they? Are they? Show me some proof of that, Carlos. Like CAA. Who is that? That's not an agency. I don't know. I don't even know who you're talking about right now. But third party is just more money. Gifts are taxable. Yes, they are. Very good point. Trying to get through your comments. I'm going a little fast because I do need to get off the air here. I don't want to skip anybody. Pittsburgh will have a good team and jacked up with hiring Arthur Smith. They were talking about Peyton and his 1-year suspension for Bountygate. Again, my comment there, Danny, and we'll probably have to pick this up on Sunday because I'm going to have to get off the air here. Bountygate, putting bounties on is nothing new in the NFL. It's been going on for decades. As I mentioned, Buddy Ryan was one of the biggest violators of this, and there's probably a dozen more. The entire league probably has done things like this at one time or another. Again, if you want to get somebody on something, you'll get them. Yeah, I do mention that all the time, yes. BB is the most overrated coach in the NFL. He was fired, got Tom Brady, then got fired. Oh, wait. He did. No, make no point. Make no doubt, or have no doubt. I know Bill Belichick got fired. I advocated for Bill Belichick getting fired because of the way he screwed up the quarterback we do have. But don't think Bill Belichick only won 6 Super Bowls because of Tom Brady. We'll get into that conversation another date. We don't have time today. Kenny Gifford, that's part of the problem, and just believe how many fellows get hit up. So who in your mind is a bigger factor to pass dynasty, and don't take the easy road? The easy road would be they needed each other. If I was going to say one or the other, then yes, I would say Tom Brady. But I do not think Tom Brady would have won 6 Super Bowls in New England, or 7 overall, without Bill Belichick. Keep in mind, once he became Tom Brady, he became the overriding factor. But you cannot just, God, I got to get off the air. You cannot just totally bypass the fact that that coaching staff helped make Tom Brady Tom Brady. Tom Brady wasn't Tom Brady that we saw in year 8, 9, in year 1, 2, 3. He was great, very good player. And it's funny, all these years I had to hear Tom Brady was a system quarterback. But now, you know, Bill Belichick is the guy who stinks. So anyway, whatever. Right. Well, we're all in the same boat here, Danny. I am 63, soon to be 64. Thank you for, not for my service, I know, but whoever had mentioned that. I don't remember who mentioned it now. I don't remember who mentioned that. Sorry. Loyalty's out the window. It's dollars. Danny, love my first day. We'll make this show a priority. Awesome. Danny, glad to hear that. I'm glad that Chris brought you in, and I hope you'll share it with your friends. Again, guys, go to TGI Sports Talk. If you're not following the show, the page, please do that and invite your friends. It's easy to do. Hello, Ralph Williams from RW Media. I'm on my way off the air, Ralph, but thanks for popping in. I always mention Ralph at the top of the show. He's doing some great things over there at RW Media, and I do plan on being on the 26th on the Sports Corner with him and Smoking Jim Frazier. $25 an hour now. Unions won't help like back in the day. And there you go. 95 national champions, the UCLA Bruins basketball team. Ed O'Bannon. He missed a little. Maybe that's what you called him. I don't know. Nothing in college like March Madness. Nothing. And we're going to talk about that. Catch the Wednesday night show, Danny, the College Sports Huddle. We'll be talking a lot of college basketball, obviously, this next month. This next week with conference tournaments is exciting. And then we get into March, the NCAA tournament. University of Spoiled Children, Bush. I knew Danny wouldn't like Danny Bush. Thanks for that comment, Danny. I enjoyed your participation. Buddy was the GOAT. Hello, John DeLon. You're on just in time for me to get off the air. I got to go. Good to have you with us. So, Chris Efren, thanks for the invite to an awesome show. Thank you again, Chris and Danny. Thank you for the compliments. We'll be on Sunday, by the way. See you Wednesday, and I'm on Sunday morning at what time are we on? 8:30 to 10:30 with a basically, you know, it's bring it all. Well, on that note, we're gonna go. We did not say it's outlawed. I never said that, John DeLong. John DeLong is one of my John's a very loyal follower of the show, and John and I do a lot of sparring, which Danny and I may end up doing as well. I enjoyed it a lot, guys. It went long, but it was worth it. You guys have a great Friday. There goes the music. I'll wait till it comes back. You guys have a great Friday, and we'll see you Sunday with the Sunday Stream of Consciousness. Have a great weekend, guys. Bye-bye.